So here's some Democrats and, by the way, some Republicans who have been nailed for kitty PRN, child PRN. Not necessarily today or yesterday. Some of this has happened a while ago. But it's a nice little list this person compiled. Vic, they call themselves on Twitter here. Subtle Bodai. So in case you guys need to know, Ghislaine Maxwell list became unsealed sometime yesterday. And here's what happened while y'all were distracted by BS. Now, granted, like I just searched for this guy. He's listing Keith Farnham, state representative, resigned and was charged with possession of child PRN and has been accused of bragging at online about doing something with a 6-year-old girl. But when I look up that name, that happened in 2017. So I just want to be clear. Some of this is recent, some of it's not. But it's just to let you know how filthy these politicians are. These are people in charge of us, basically. Like the kind of person who tells you, you've got to wear a mask. Don't question us while we're raping 6-year-olds. No. Don't question us. We know what's best for you. Definitely. So that's one of them. Democrat spokesperson for the Arkansas Democratic Party, Harold Moody Jr., was charged with distribution and possession of child P. Democrat Radnor Township Board of Commissioners member Phil R. resigned from his position after being charged with possession of child P. Democratic activist and BLM organizer Charles Wade was arrested and charged with human trafficking and underage prostitution. Let's just do a little Google on that one real quick. How recent was that one? 2016? 2016? News break. It was arrested. July 13th. Check out. Hold on. Yeah, so it does appear that was 2016. Democratic Texas attorney and activist Mark Benavides was charged with having S with a minor. Okay. He was found guilty on 6 counts of trafficking as well. Sex trafficking. Democrat Virginia delegate Joe Morrissey was indicted on charges connected to his relationship with a 17-year-old and was charged with indecent liberties with a minor, possession of child P, and distribution of child P. Democratic Massachusetts Congressman Jerry Studds was censured by the House of Representatives after he committed to an inappropriate relationship with the 17-year-old Paige. Democratic former mayor of Stillwater, New York, Rick Nelson, was did plead guilty to 5 counts of possession of child P of children less than 16 of age. Democratic former mayor of Clayton, New York, Dale Kenyon, was indicted for sexual acts against a teenager. Democratic former mayor of Hubbard, Ohio, Richard Keenan, was given a life sentence in jail for raping a 4-year-old girl. Democratic former mayor of Winston, Oregon, Kenneth Barrett, was arrested for setting up a meeting to have sex with a 14-year-old girl who turned out to be a police officer. Democratic former mayor of Randolph, Nebraska, Dwayne L. Schutt, was arrested and charged with 4 counts of felony third-degree sexual assault of a child and 1 count of additional child abuse. Democratic former mayor of Dawson, Georgia, Christopher Wright, was indicted on the charges of aggravated child molestation, aggravated sodomy, rape, child molestation, and statutory rape of an 11-year-old boy and a 12-year-old girl. Democratic former mayor of Stockton, California, Anthony Silva, was charged with providing alcohol to young adults during a game of strip poker that included a 16-year-old boy at a camp for underprivileged children run by the mayor himself. Democratic Party leader for Victoria County, Texas, Stephen Jabor, pled guilty to possession and receiving over 500,000 child P images. Democratic activist and fundraiser Terrence Bean was arrested on charges of sodomy and sex abuse in a case involving a 15-year-old boy, and when the alleged victim declined to testify, the judge dismissed the case. Democratic Party chairman for Davidson County, Tennessee, Rodney Mullen, resigned amid child P allegations. Democrat activist Andrew Douglas Reed pleaded guilty to a multiple count of second-degree sexual exploitation of a minor for producing child P. Democrat official from Terre Haute, Indiana, David Roberts, was sentenced to federal prison for producing and possessing child P including placing hidden cameras in bedrooms and bathrooms at a home he shared with 2 minor female victims. Democrat California Congressman Tony Cardenas is being sued in L.A. County for allegedly sexually abusing a 16-year-old girl. Democratic aide to Senator Barbara Boxer, Jeff Rosado, pled guilty to charges of trading in child pee. Democrat Alaskan State Representative Dean Westlake resigned from his seat after the media published a report alleging he fathered a child with a 16-year-old girl when he was 28. Democratic New Jersey State Assemblyman Neil Cohen was convicted of possession and distribution of child pee. Republican. Oh, finally we get to the Republicans. Tim Nolan, chairman of Donald Trump's presidential campaign in Kentucky, pled guilty to child sex trafficking, and on February 11, 2018, he was sentenced to serve 20 years in prison. Trump's presidential campaign? Yeah. You realize there's one for every state, many throughout the state, different cities, different counties. These aren't people that Donald Trump would have handpicked, like he would have known these people. They're in politics. Oh, that's a Republican person in that area? All right, he'll be the campaign guy. Okay, fine. You got to hire people. It's that simple. And that's why I'm also reading you the Republicans. It's just something about these dirty bastard politicians. Period. And these are the people making laws, rules, wear your mask. We're allowed to have transgenders in the bathroom peeking over the top at your little girl going potty. Don't you say a word, we'll call you sexist, bigot. Don't you do it. Republican state senator Ralph Shorty was indicted on 4 counts of human trafficking and child pee. In November 2017, he pleaded guilty to 1 count of child sex trafficking in exchange for the dropping of the other charges. Republican Judge Mark Puzahanich pleaded no contest to fondling a 10-year-old girl and was sentenced to 10 years probation. Republican anti-abortion activist Nicholas Morency pleaded guilty to possessing child pee on his computer and offering a bounty to anyone who murders an abortion doctor. Republican legislator Edison Misla Alborno was sentenced to 10 years in prison for raping his daughter between the ages of 9 and 17. Republican Mayor Philip Giordano is serving a 37-year sentence in federal prison for sexually abusing 8 and 10-year-old girls. Republican campaign consultant Tom Shortridge was sentenced to 3 years probation for taking nude photos of a 15-year-old girl. Republican Senator Strom Thurmond, a notable racist, had sex with a 15-year-old black girl, which produced a child. Republican pastor Mike Hintz, whom George W. Bush commended during the 2004 presidential campaign, surrendered to police after admitting to a sexual affair with a female juvenile. Republican legislator Peter Dibble pleaded no contest to having an inappropriate relationship with the 13-year-old girl. Republican Congressman Donald Buzz Lukens was found guilty of having sex with a female minor and sentenced to 1 month in jail. Boy, he got off the hook pretty easy. Republican fundraiser Richard A. Del Guadio was found guilty of child pee charges and paying 2 teenage girls to pose for sexual photos. Republican activist Mark A. Grethen convicted on 6 counts of sex crimes involving children. Republican activist Randall David Ankeny pleaded guilty to attempted sexual assault on a child. Republican Congressman Dan Crane had sex with a female minor working as a congressional page. The older cases you were unaware of still deserve your attention and do not detract from the level of filth that has infiltrated this country and the world, he says. I cannot agree more. It's effing everywhere. All parts of society, all part of government, high, low, state, local, it's everywhere. Sometimes I wish a big-ass comet would strike the damn earth. It's time for a reset. Because I don't know that we're going to get rid of all of this filth. I just don't. I mean, it's everywhere. Take care.